Hello everyone. It's Denise here. Welcome to a very special edition of Finding Calm in the Chaos. Where we are going to be recording from Europe. Yes, indeed. It's me, Mr. Sith, and Peter, and we are traveling Europe. And we are going to share our adventures with you in many ways, but you know what I'm saying? Let's do this. Here we go. Hey everybody, it's Denise, and I am recording from Vienna, Austria. But tonight we're going to talk about Bratislava, Slovakia. We went to Slovakia for an overnight trip. And Mr. Sith, for those of you who don't know, is from Slovakia. And he was born there in Bratislava. And we went back to visit his aunt, uncle, his cousins, and obviously little cousins now, because cousins have kids. And so this is Peter's first opportunity to meet his Slovakian family. Let me tell you. Okay, so it also happened to land on Mr. Sith's 40th birthday. Yep. Let's just say that it was quite the spread, okay? Like it was a spread. And let's just say, okay, so they picked us up. We came by boat. We took the boat. It's called Twin City Liner, and it is a river cruise down the Danube River from Vienna to Bratislava. And it's perfect because it drops you right off by the UFO bridge. For those of you who don't know, you got to Google. So it's basically a big bridge, and one end of it has this huge UFO up on top of it. So think Seattle, but bigger. And it's got, I think Seattle has an observation deck as well, but it also has an observation deck and a restaurant. So there's that. So we took the boat, and then we spent some time in basically like the little downtown, like the old center. And the first thing, it was so funny because the first thing that happened when we walked in was we're walking down this cute little, cobblestone. The streets are just all over the place, but the buildings there have so much history. Some of them, obviously, predate the war. And most of the things are it's just all stone, all rock, all beautiful architecture. And we're walking down this one walkway, and Peter goes, "I smell a newfie." And here's me like, "What are you talking about?" Like, whatever. And so we look up and we see this family of four, 2 children and mom and dad, and they're all playing the accordion. It's just absolutely awesome. And for those of you who want to see some of this, I am posting in my stories, and not as much on the wall because like Facebook and stuff, they give you dings for too much. Like if you're too social, they get super mad at you. But if you're not social enough, they like take you off the feed. Like you can't even you don't even know what's going on anymore with social media. So I've been posting the stories because you don't get dinged as much there. And then my close friends have a Google photo that we've been dumping everything in. And so check out the stories, or if you want to see pictures, just let me know and I'll send them to you, quite frankly. I don't really care. So we look, and this family of 4 I'm looking down and I'm like, well, sure as poop. There's a big brown newfie. He was huge and just sitting there like calm as all heck. And just like the cutest little thing, which totally reminds me. So needless to say, like we took a ton of pictures and a movie, and it was so cute. But speaking of newfies, so Buster the Buster. Let me explain to you about Buster right now is being a bad boy. He's a naughty, naughty puppy right now. He has been giving Zia, my sister, Zia Charmaine, a really hard time. Apparently now he jumps up on the bed. We have a really high bed, so like that's impressive in itself. He has been starting fights with the little dog. She says he barks a lot, and he's like so close to her sometimes she's tripping. So like he's been a very naughty dog. So tomorrow I'm hoping he gets some steam let off because that's the day he usually goes to doggy daycare. So hopefully Buster will get some steam out and stop being an adolescent pup. It is what it is. So, and long story short, Sheikah knows that when we go on trips or we're gone, that we come back. And Buster does not. So this is the first time we've been away from him. So once I think he gets the idea that we actually come back, it won't be. But they do suffer. Newfies are known for suffering from separation anxiety. So, oh gosh, But I am not worrying about that. So we're in downtown Bratislava. We're in like Old Town. So we're walking around and the first thing we see is like, of course, gelato. And it's like lunchtime. So we want to eat something, but it was pretty warm. So we had pretty decent weather thus far. So we wound up going to this place called Arthur Gelato. And it was really good because I'm pretty bougie when it comes to, well, everything. But to gelato, I'm really particular about it. And I thought it was really good. Peter, yeah. Okay, so he had, of course, gotten the chocolate cherry, like the cherry cordial equivalent. It was like all over his face. I was shocked because he had a blue and white striped polo shirt on, and he did not get chocolate on his shirt at all, which must have been like an intro or like a psych out for me because we went out today and he got food like all over him before 10 o'clock in the morning. So there's that. Where am I? Sorry, guys. I'm so tired. Just like at home, I don't sleep in Europe either. And also I'm struggling from walking. I'm struggling. Okay. I am struggling. I'm on the struggle bus, peeps. Okay. But I'm going and trying to get as much stuff as done as I can without being completely crippled when I come home. But I'm pretty much going to be crippled when I get home for at least 3 weeks, like minimum. So it is what it is when you have lupus. Okay, so we get gelato, we're looking around, we see some of the, we're going all over. Just, there's so much to see architecture-wise. Just everything is so old and colorful, and it's just a beautiful place to be. So for those of you who've never traveled or you're looking for places to go in Europe, instead of the regular places that everybody goes, I'd highly recommend going to Slovakia, especially Bratislava. If you could just make the capital, it is quite a place. It's also, Slovakia is home to, it has the greatest amount of castles per capita of any other country in the world. That's a fact. So we saw Devon Castle on the way in the river cruise, and then Bratislava Castle, and then when we were in Slovakia, we saw Bratislava Castle as well. But let me tell you about this whirlwind. So we called, I'm saying so a lot today because I'm tired. I found out, because you guys know I've complained about saying it in the past a lot, and I've realized that I do it when I'm tired. And since I'm always tired, that's why I say so much. Anyway, we met his cousin, was supposed to come pick us up. And I don't know if he's listening to this, but we love you, Peter. His name is also Peter. But he had went to a high school reunion and indulged a little too much in the spirits. So he asked his significant other to come pick us up. So she picked us up in downtown Bratislava and took us to Tomasov, Slovakia, which is where Peter Carl's family is from. And so we went to his, Tita is aunt, so Tita Adi, and Striko is uncle. We went to Striko Lazzo's house, and his cousin Peter was there, his cousin Veronica, and then all of their kids. And 2 of the younger kids are 7, and one of them is 10, and she was like too cool for school for anybody, of course, right? Then let alone a young new cousin from America, like whatever. So that never changes no matter what country you're in. But the other 2 cousins are 7. So they were all 7, and it was fun how like he walked in and like 10 minutes later, they're all outside running around in the yard. The property was gorgeous, and the houses out there are so different. It's like they're very, very old, but they've been updated on the inside. or like the garage doors. It was great. Food, don't even get me started. So we walked in and immediately they started feeding us. So there's soup, and then we had chicken, and chicken was served with rice and potatoes because you can never get too many carbs in Slovakia. We also then had desserts they made. So these little cakes, like little sweet cakes, they look like little breads, right? Like if you baked little mini loaves of bread, but except they're filled with plum, like plum jam. They're delicious. So imagine having like a little sweet loaf of bread and then you bite into it and there's plum inside. And then we went to, they also made, they're sort of like biscuits, but they pop up a little bit. And that's because they're basically made with leftover bacon and bacon lard. I'm not joking. Welcome to Slovakia again. So they're literally, you want to use everything, right? That's how they cook. So they're delicious. It's just, if you like bacon, like these are the rolls for you. And then they also had a birthday cake for Carl, and everybody sang happy birthday in Slovak. And it was delicious. That was like a multi-layer chocolate cake with raspberry in it and like ganache with like fruit on top. It was way over the top. It was delicious, but it was way over the top. And then we found out later that Tita Adi had also tiramisu, but they forgot about it. So they never even brought it out. What else did we do? So we stayed there that night, and we stood up all night just basically talking until I had to put Pete to sleep. I'm trying to keep him on some sort of schedule. And then we stayed upstairs in their home. It's kind of sort of like imagine like a big loft apartment upstairs. That's kind of what it is. But we had like a full bath. It was beautiful. It had been redone. It was just gorgeous. I had pictures of that as well because I was like, oh my gosh, look at all this. I asked Carl, I'm like, is this woodwork like from the original house, like the beams? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, wow. He's like, they tried to save everything they could. And so they have this plant in the bathroom. And you know how you have like the big trees, like the fake trees. This one was like right in a big like window, sort of like a dormer window. And it had two big red blossoms on it. And so I was like, well, it seemed weird to have like a fake tree with blossoms, but it's pretty, right? And I reached over to kind of like look at it and I'm like, I'm always like, how do they keep this like fake plants without dust? That's me. Like, cause I'm always dusting my fake plants. I have fake plants because I cannot grow real plants. They're too much maintenance for me. So I'll just get fake stuff. So if you come to my house and you like love my flowers outside, there's probably a 99% chance that those are probably just silk flowers and I change them out every year. True story. Literally, I touched a plant and it's real. Like this woman has like a green thumb, like holy cow. But it was real. And so were the blossoms. I'm like, shut up right now. This is like real. It's not even a fake plant. Peter would hardly sleep. He kept getting up and Carl went in there to sleep with him. There was like a bed laid out. It always excess because, Slovaks, they're always like in excess. It's like all Europeans do like more than you need to. It's probably where I get it from. But let me tell you, they had a bed out, like a portabed cot, and then they had the couch set up in case you wanted to sit in the couch, like in the living room area upstairs. And then there was a whole bathroom. And of course, the bedroom was like, I think at least a queen size bed. And Pete claimed that one immediately for himself. And I'm like, well, good. He can go to bed and we could shut the door and still be up and it won't be an issue. Except he kept getting up and getting up and I was up till like 1:30 in the morning. Our time. And we're 6 hours ahead. Are we 6 hours ahead, Mr. Sith? 7. We're 7 hours ahead. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm having like full conversations with everybody like at home. And then one of my friends was just like, why are you up? Like, what time is it there? And I'm like, you don't want to know. So I wound up getting up in the morning, but then Mr. Sith got ready. And then I went this was the following morning, to just kind of lay with Pete and wake him up like slowly, except I fell asleep. And then like an hour later, I was like, got up and I was like, wow, like how did I fall back asleep? That was all right. So then went downstairs, got everybody ready. And so we're there second day. Now it is officially Mr. Sith's birthday, right? It's June 5th. And I'm looking down at like the table is like, okay, so people eat breakfast differently here. They don't just have eggs and bacon and sausage and stuff like that. Not in these countries. So there was a bread out, like rye bread or like almost like a potato bread, lunch meats, so like a ham, lots of cheeses, like sweet peppers, tomatoes, yogurt, coffee, always coffee. I have drank so much coffee while I've been here. It's been amazing. And the best part is you could just drink coffee without adding sugar a majority of the time because it tastes that good. Because I love the way coffee tastes. I mean, if you don't and you add coffee to your sugar, you're probably still going to do that here. But the coffee is delicious. So lots of coffee. Peter, they're spoiling him rotten. Like he literally, it's Carl's birthday and we all got like 2 bags of gifts to leave the house. I'm like, where are we going to put all this? Like this is the beginning of our trip. So I have strategically tried to like jam all this stuff into bags so that we can like still get on to Italy, which we leave tomorrow. So when you guys are listening to this, we actually will be on our way or getting ready to be on our night train so we'll be on our night train by the time you guys are listening to this on Wednesday. Oh my gosh. So that's done. So we wound up being taken to the cemetery locally in Tomasov to see the graves of Mr. Sith's grandma and grandpa who are passed. And his father is also passed, but he's buried in America because he was there. And then his great-great-grandparents. And Peter helped light the candles and put them in the lanterns. And I know it's like, graves, but I always found that European cemeteries were just so much prettier. I know that sounds weird because it's like where dead people are. They're just a nicer place to be. You can see that people respect everyone. Everybody brings stuff. They bring flowers. It's just so much nicer than, our stuff here. And what else? Okay, so then we did that. So that was like first stop. Now the whirlwind tour starts. Meanwhile, good old Denise is on 0 sleep. I'm hocked up on coffee. And I'm just like we're on no schedule. And let me tell you, when you're in a different country and you're not eating the way you normally eat, that changes things as well. So here I am eating like, yogurt and cheese for breakfast. I think she also had cakes out, like French cakes. I don't even know. They're like cinnamon cakes. They were so good. And here's me. Oh gosh, I hope this like gluten stays with me or it's going to be like a rough day. It's decent here though. I'm telling you, I've had 0 issues with any kind of gluten and it's only been Slovakia and Austria. I cannot wait to get to Italy. All right, moving along. See, it's like squirrel. So then stop number 2, we went to have lunch. Is that where we had lunch? So Mr. Sith loves this dish called svichkova. So svichkova is essentially, it takes like a weekend to make this stuff, like 3 days. So it's basically beef, like a beef roast, and it's soaked and marinated in like a vegetable solution. I said solution, like a vegetable gravy, okay? So it's all sorts of different, like carrots, whatever you got, right? Carrots, onions, celery, whatever they have. Celery root, would be more probably the deal out here. And then after it's marinated for like 2 days, those vegetables are all then blended and it becomes like this orange gravy sauce. And then they cook the beef in it as well. So it's like very tender. So it's almost like boiled beef, but in vegetables. Does that make sense? And then they slice it in like, I don't know, 1/2-inch slices. And they serve it with all of that vegetable gravy that's been blended smooth. And I'm sure spiced or whatever with whatever they do. And it's served with bread dumplings. Bread dumplings are a big thing in Slovakia and like Czechia, because that's what they want to be now. Czechia, the Czech Republic. It's a big thing. Bread dumplings. So essentially it looks like it's almost like a boiled bread loaf, and then they cut it. It's hard to explain. Just look up bread dumplings. And you'll see what I'm talking about. You can get them in America because we bought them at like the Polish stores and stuff like that might carry them, or an Italian store for sure that has like an aisle, maybe an international aisle. You'll get bread dumplings. They'll come frozen and then you'll have to steam them. You'll steam them to get them warm. So we went to a restaurant that they had known and was apparently known for good svichkova. But when we got there, turns out the restaurant had closed because it didn't survive COVID. So now, normally you would just give up, right? Nope, not Adi and Latzo. They're like, oh no, we're going to find Carl like svichkova on his birthday. So we wound up going all the way over to, I think, another side of town. I was like, oh my God, here we go. And we found it was like a brewery, very good food. Of course, Peter ate chicken fingers and French fries. But he did have kofala. So we went in there, we got our svichkova. Adi and I ordered the chicken salad. It was really good. The dressing was amazing. I don't even know what it was, but it wasn't like regular dressing. It was just super good. It was warm. It was delicious. And we all had kofala. So kofala is Slovak pop, and or soda for those of you on the other coast. And it is, I am not a licorice fan. So I don't like black licorice. I don't do any of that. So a lot of people are like, why do you like kofala? Because I feel like it's less licoricey and a little more like real anise flavored. Anise, however you want to say it. I say anise. It's probably anise. I don't know. I don't care. That's what it tastes like. It's very good. And they never serve it. First off, it's Europe, so there's not ice. If you want ice, you have to ask for it. So it just tastes better. It's just like a little bit cooler than room temperature. It's probably kept that way on tap. But they served it in these huge mugs, and it was delicious. I couldn't wait to put it down. It has like a slight little head on it, almost like a stout head, but it's really good. So if you might find it in I found it in the States in Russian delis. I have not found it yet. Maybe some Polish delis or Ukrainian delis might also have kofala. But if you can get some kofala to try it, super good. Peter tried it, and he seemed to like it. So he drank, he's not going to drink the big cup they had, but he did pretty good. He drank almost the whole thing, but like a quarter of it. So after that, then we went on the next trip. So now we're going to Bratislava Castle. I'm like, now, if you guys are not even vaguely familiar with Bratislava Castle, there's a museum inside the castle, but then you have to kind of climb up to the castle. So everything is steep, high gradient, and tons of steep stairways, all in cobblestone or castle stone. I'm not even joking. Here's me. I'm telling Mr. Sith, please tell these two, they're in their 70s, okay? Could you please let them know that, not only am I overweight, but I've also, have a messed up foot, and because of that foot, a messed up knee. Nope. Let me tell you. And I trying to keep up and just, bitching on the side. Let me tell you, it killed me. It did me in. It was the demise of the trip, I think. So far, I'm still working it out. But I'm super sore from it. It's triggered my lupus. It's triggered the rheumatoid arthritis. And so I'm just trying my best to keep up at this point. So we'll see. So prayers, send me some good vibes. Send me the prayers. Send me all of that stuff because I'm going to need it. We went to Bratislava Castle. We took tons of gorgeous pictures. There's great views of the Danube. There's great views of UFO. There's great views of the downtown area, Stare Mesto, all the new stuff. Then there's a park like this little park area where the lookout is up on one part of the castle. And there's a, playground equipment. Pete's like all excited because he wants to play on it. So Pete is totally me. So immediately he starts just randomly playing or trying to play with kids by talking to them. And of course, most of them don't speak English. And he just kept moving along, or they'd move along from him because they were, they don't know. So they just move along. Then all of a sudden he says something to one of the kids, and the kid talks back to him. And Mr. Sith is like, that boy speaks English. And I'm like, well, he certainly doesn't look like he's from the U.S. But hey, here's a young boy who speaks English wherever he's from. Oh, well, they were like best buddies. They did everything together, whatever. So his name was Alex, and he was from Romania. And his dad, we were chit-chatting a little bit, and he was saying, oh, look at them. They're like best buds. We were all leaving because he had to leave as well. And we were getting ready to leave to go on like the 5th leg of the tour. And so as we were walking, they're walking, the two boys together, and they got like their arms around each other like they're buddies. So the father kind of looked at me and like shook his camera, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to take a picture too. Like we had to get the A-OK, we could take pictures of our kids, right? So I thought that was kind of cool. So we did a picture of them overlooking basically the Danube River and the UFO Tower Bridge. So Peter will be able to remember Alex, and Alex will be able, and it was so cute because he was like, it was nice to see you, Alex. Thanks for playing with me. And he was like, thank you, Peter. I was like, oh my God, they're so cute. Oh, it was adorable. It was absolutely adorable. And so now we are going over to the UFO Tower. Now let me explain something to you. Side note here. Slovaks, and I'm not saying this, I hope if anybody in the Slovak family is listening, it is not offensive because y'all know how you drive. Let me tell you, Slovaks are notoriously not good drivers at all. My friend, I've had numerous Slovak friends who all are self-proclaimed bad drivers. Mr. Sith, bad driver. I mean, he totaled his car in a parking lot, all right? So we get this. I will tell you, like I had like a mind numb right there. It's scary because they sat me in the front, and I feel it was intentional because Mr. Sith didn't want to sit in the front because it's like bungee jumping in a car. Okay. That's pretty much how driving with them is because the streets are super small. At some points you don't even know, like if you've ever driven in Slovakia, their road signage is super sketch. It's like, sometimes it's just a spray painted arrow on the floor. Sometimes it's just nothing. Sometimes it's like a turn, and a turn. And it looks like a roundabout, but with like 5 different things coming off of it. It's crazy. And he drives thus. And because everybody either is driving a Volvo, an Audi, or a BMW, it's pretty much, let's step on the gas and then brake at the last minute, and then step on the gas, and then brake at the last minute. So that's pretty much how the entire drive went. Yeah. So now we're driving to the UFO. Now, if you Google UFO bridge in Bratislava, Slovakia, I forgot to say, so earlier, that's another thing I forgot. So in between lunch and the grave sites, we went to visit the family business. So Striko, uncle, Lazzo, he has a printing and just a printing business. Let's just say that. But they do more than printing because they also do, like plastic acrylic. Well, it's not plastic, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like acrylic. It's acrylic stuff, okay? Hard acrylic. They do stickers, they do billboards, posters, so all kinds of stuff that if it could be printed, they can print it. So Lazzo has retired, and now the new, head of the business is Peter, cousin Peter. So now we've got little Peter, my Peter, and then big Peter, the boss. So we go in to visit him at work, and so that little Peter can see the business. And so we're walking around, and of course, Lotso used to be the boss. So he walks right in and starts going to the back where they got all the stickers. And there's lots of cute, like nice, like I call them button stickers. So they're kind of like, because I think they're acrylic. I'm not really sure. Duh. But they're like kind of bubbled, right? Like there's a casing over it. And they have pretty ones from like Slovakia and Bratislava, and he just gave like a whole plastic thing and was just like loading them up with stickers. And I'm like, okay, more stuff to pack. And then, Peter's like, can I have water? And Big Peter's like, sure. And so we wound up talking with Big Peter and telling him, like, Peter's got this YouTube channel, here's his logo. Could you like do anything? And he's like, what do you want? And I'm like, well, he has a black logo and a white logo, if they're like reversed. I don't know what you would want. He's like, give me both. Email them to me. So we emailed it to him and he's like, later on, I'll have something for you guys and we'll surprise him or, do whatever. And so that's kind of where we left that. So there's a little sidetrack of where I forgot because I squirreled out. Now we're back at the UFO tower. It was important to know about that printing business. So we get to the UFO tower, which, by the way, also totally didn't need to, but we were completely treated by our aunt and uncle that whole day, which was so nice because they didn't have to, and they did, and it meant everything to us. So I thought that was very kind that they did that because Peter had a blast with them. Lotso is very playful. Let me tell you, for a 74-year-old man, he is very playful and just silly. And every time Peter was silly, he just sillied him back. And they went back and played back and forth on that the whole time. And so Peter really, really, really liked them. And we're at the UFO tower and we're up there. And what do we get? So we got drinks, coffee, lemonades. Okay, so lemonades here are freaking amazing. In Slovakia, they use like a sparkling water and then they add real fruit stuff. So it's not like sugar and water. It's like sparkling water. There's like a little effervescent to it. And it's just delicious. Let's just put it that way. So I had strawberry and coconut, and I think Mr. Sith had the same. And Peter had the mandarin, mango, passion fruit or something. And then, of course, Adi ordered him the sundae, which it came with like a little metal shovel, and that's how he ate it too. He just shoveled it in his mouth. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you please eat nice? But we went up to the observation tower, looked from there, and took some amazing pictures and videos. I'm trying to post as best I can. Internet is sketch on my phone. It's non-existent unless I have Wi-Fi because of my carrier. So I've been trying to post. So we might just have to do more when we get home. I don't even know. Or I'm just going to post what I can. And I'm trying to do reels. Reels seem to be easier for me. I don't know. So if you want to see some stuff, looks like I'm just doing reels currently while I'm here. That said, as we're in the UFO tower, when you're in the elevator, when you get your thing, you obviously take the elevator all the way up to the top of the UFO. And the walls are like this almost kind of like psychedelic 3D vinyl / covering. And the family business made that. So Lotso was his company. Our uncle is the one that took care of all that. And then, so all of the psychedelic stuff within it, like the walling and stuff was theirs. And also in the restaurant itself, in the bar section, they had these like, I forget what they're called. The bar level, that's probably what they're called, right? Duh. The bar level tables were like little square acrylic tables, and they made those as well. So I thought that was so cool that we got to see something that they made, and it just was cool. I was like, look at that. Boom. People are seeing that every day, and the family business made that. All right. Almost done here. I know, we're still going. People wonder why I can't walk today. Like, seriously. Because this is why. It was crazy. Then we went just down the way. So it's the south side of the Danube in Bratislava still, but very near to, like, I believe it would be just east I'm trying to like get the south side of the Danube, east of the UFO. There's like this outdoor little restaurant kiosks, but with these they're enclosed. So like there are no walls, but they all have roofs. So you could sit in the event that it rains. And of course it rained. But Peter played in the sand. Lord help me, people. Like, I'm moving, and like, what am I going to do with a ton of sand and everything? Got all the sand out, and that's where cousin Peter and his spouse, Vanda, and then their children, their two girls, came to see us, Agatha and Clara. And so now we're with aunt, uncle, cousin Peter, Vanda, and the two kids, and we're all eating a bunch of stuff. I didn't want anything. I just had another cup of coffee. Shocker. Another cup of coffee. And it started to pour. It was like pouring. So we're like, you know what? The storm's coming in tonight. So like, why don't you guys just drop us off at the train station? And then Peter ran over the stickers he had made for Peter, little Peter. And they're really nice. So I was like, yes, you got like vinyl stickers. So you could put it on tumblers and stuff. And like, now you have like your first merch. So we're going to have to do a shout out for him on that. So thanks to Peter. There are going to be more Peter production stuff. So maybe we'll give stuff away like later when we get home, once Peter decides what he's going to do. Because let me tell you, since we've been here, I'm just like, you got to do what's Peter eating? Not this time. Well, I'm not doing it with like chicken fingers. Like, what? So most of the time he's super tired in all the videos. And I feel kind of bad, but I'm like, sorry, but this is something you committed to, so you're going to do it. Sorry, not sorry. I mean, I have to do all this stuff. So I didn't do all this prep work for you to decide you don't want to do any of it. Boom. So he is doing his videos, and I have been uploading them. So little by little, I have some I'm going to do after this. Right? Okay, last but not least, we got dropped off at the train station, and we caught our train back to Vienna, where we had our apartment waiting. And at the train station, it takes us right to like the undergrounds, and we're literally right down, like it's like a 3-minute walk, not even, from the underground station. We keep getting off. We get off at the right stop, Mr. Sith is saying, but we keep walking back and getting out further away rather than walking the other way. We've done it not once, but twice. Like, ding-a-ling, whatever. And we even mentioned it to ourselves. Let's make sure we walk the right way. And we walked the wrong way again. Only a concern because it was raining today, but there's that. So we came home, and then, of course, obviously, boom, back in Vienna. We'll talk about Vienna more probably, next Wednesday. But I'm going to try to see if I can record it tomorrow night on the train when we're going to Venice. There's that. So that's all I have right now. We really, really miss the family. We had a really, really good experience with them. We got to see not just Adi and Lazzo's house, our aunt and uncle, but we also got to see our cousin Veronica's house. And she's right down the way, also in Tomasov. And then we also got to see Grandpa's home that he lived in originally when he was alive. And it's pretty much run down now, and it needs a lot of TLC. It's just, it's overgrown, all of that. And we tossed around the idea, Mr. Sith and I, that, if we ever wanted to buy in Slovakia, we would consider buying Grandpa's home. It's just such a nice community. And a village. It's basically just a small village, and it has a school and a beautiful, it was just really nice. And sometimes you just need that kind of, kickback after, all the everyday zooming around in the States. It's just a different way of living out here, and it's just really relaxing. Eating dinner is that way. You go to dinner, and they don't just, bring you your dinner and then ask you, is there anything else you can get? And then bring you a bill and drop it on your table. You have to ask for your bills here. They'll never, ever bring it to your table. Ever. Ever. And they won't ever ask for a tip either. They'll tell you that it's not required, but greatly appreciated. And in Slovakia and Venice, but they don't, or Vienna, but they never expect it, ever. So that's kind of cool. Whereas, we know what happens in the States when you don't get the right tip. Even when you have horrible service, they want a big tip. So there's that. That's what's going on. Next Wednesday, we will go to and talk about Vienna, and then we'll keep going on with Venice and Rome. Thanks for talking with me today. As usual, if you want to see more information, go ahead and follow this. Leave me a review on whatever platform you listen to for the podcast. And what else could we do? Probably YouTube subscribing, Peter Productions, 2015, and of course me in Finding Calm in the Chaos, Denise Sith on YouTube as well. See you next week. Until then, lead with kindness.